Hello, good afternoon, investor and corporate. Welcome to Digital Roadshow First Quarter 2024 Performance Review. This section will run about 45 minutes, including Q&A. And during Q&A, investors may leave your question in meeting room chat box or use raise your hand function. We will open the microphone so you can ask the question to the company directly. So may I now invite AVIATION Public Company Limited to start the presentation.
ครับสวัสดีครับสวัสดี investors, analysts, fund managers. So we are investor relation teams from Asia Aviation Public Company Limited or AAV. So first of all, thank you the Stock Exchange of Thailand for arranging this event, and thank you investors and everyone who's in the call right now. It's been a while that we haven't, been on this digital roadshow international session. So hope it's going to be a fruitful session for you guys if you have any questions regarding the industry and AAV specifically. So during this 45 minutes, I would like to split the session into two parts. First one will brief you just to have everyone on the same page. I have my colleague Panupat, who's a new joiner to the IR team, to present with you to you on the financial performance, and I, Surapop myself, will do the business and outlook part post that. So without further ado, I would like Panupat to start presenting on the financials.
Okay, I am going to brief financial performance, the first quarters 2024. Okay, let's start with the revenue item. The revenue item to continue achieve a quarterly record in terms of core profit, about 13.8 billion compared to the first quarters of 2023 is about 9 billion. The core revenue is up 51%. So the core revenue of AAV is the red one and the pink one. The red one is the ticket revenue is up 58%, and the pink one is ancillary revenue is up 28%. Okay, and the next one, we would like to compare the average fare between post-pandemic and pre-pandemics. The average fare of the first quarter 2024 of us is 2.1 thousand, and compared to the first quarter of 2019 is 1.5 thousand is up 36% from the post-pandemics. And if we look at the most 5 recent quarters, the trend is up for our average fare, both international and domestic. And the next one is ancillary products and revenues. Ancillary products is up 7% year over year in terms of per pax. And the champions of our ancillary revenues per pax is baggage free. Okay, the next one we gonna brief about our expense. Our expense in terms of cost and sales and service is up 42% year over year compared to the first quarter of 2023, but still lower than core revenue increase, and also still lower than total revenue increase. And the SG&A expense is down 10% year over year. And the next one we're gonna show about our RASK and CASK comparison. In the most two recent quarters, we have a two positive number in RASK minus CASK. We do see the positive number in the two recent quarters due to the ASK expansion driven by increase in the international flight. And this is the good trend of us. And then we would like to show our core profit. We can turn to profitable at 1.6 million in terms of core profit. But in the first quarters 2024, we report net loss around 400 million due to the FX loss about 2,000 million, and the 90% of the FX loss is unrealized loss item. And the next one, we would like to show about the two positive impact to our companies. The first one, our rating is up from double B plus to triple B minus. Is the lower bound of the investment grade and will positive impact to our interest rate. And the second one, in the first quarters 2024, we can generate a net cash around 300 million baht. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the business outlook. Normally we would open the floor with the overview nationwide international tourist arrivals. So as you can see, this one is for the first quarter. So we ended up having around 9 million, the black part of the total chart on the right-hand side. 9 million over the target of the TAT, the Tourism Authority of Thailand, at 35 million overall this year. I have the latest number actually from the beginning of the year until the last Sunday. The number increased from 9 million to I think 13.7 million already. And within that, we are seeing a lot more acceleration in terms of Chinese people influx or coming to Thailand, now hitting almost 3 million in the first from the beginning of the year until last Sunday. So it's been a good trend in terms of the number of international tourist arrivals in general, recovering back to the pre-COVID level. But if you look at the profile on the right-hand side, we break down top 10 for you for easier comparison. You'll see that the top 4 right now are on all the same faces. Number 1 is Chinese people, followed by Malaysian, Russian, and South Korea. These top 4, only Chinese tourists who are still lacking where it was in 2019, while the rest 3 already either exceeded or very close to the pre-pandemic level. We also highlighted number 5, which in 2019 was Japan, but this year it's India who overtook Japan already, probably and likely from the impact of the weakest yen recently. And India, we have a lot more to talk about India, but I mean, in general, Indian people love to come to Thailand, and that's why now it's ranked number 5 on the chart. Next, please. So in terms of capacity for of Thai AirAsia, first quarter we ended already. So the second, third, and fourth quarter, you can see from the bar charts that we will continue to ramp up towards the pre-pandemic level. Second quarter specifically, there might be a slight drop quarter on quarter, and also compared to the second quarter of 19, the capacity comparison might end at around 85%. But comparing to the last quarter, Q1Q basis, capacity might drop around 5%. So mainly this is about the lean seasonality that we normally see in the second and third quarter. If you look back into 2019, normally the second quarter dropped in terms of capacity, maybe 10-15% from the first quarter. But we believe this year the situation will be better, although it's still down Q1Q, but the number of the reduction shouldn't be as large as it was in the past. And if we were able to, follow this path until the end of the year, you can see the full year capacity resumption on the right-hand side. So a market like South Asia, East Asia will already be exceeding the pre-pandemic levels. ASEAN is coming very close as well. Domestic, very close to 200%, and China ramping up. So I think 47 is a little bit conservative. We are waiting for the second quarter numbers and we'll revise it again. I think we can see probably from 47% going up to 60%. Yeah. Next one. So if you were to break down, our market proposition into two main ones, one is on domestic market. Very happy to share that we've been gaining market share since post-pandemic, the past year and a half. And right now we are at 40% in terms of domestic passengers. When we also highlight, that the bar charts at the very bottom, the two bar charts, overall nationwide domestic passengers, who traveled by air already recovered by 80%, or I would say only recovered by 80%. But domestic passengers for Thai Airways, we are at 90+% already, and targeting back to full recovery by the end of the year. And we are gaining market share. So this actually reflects the capacity shortage in the local market as well. With this percent of market share, the second and third and fourth competitors, they each have less than 15% of market share each. Basically, the supply in local market have shrunk quite a lot for us as well. But we've been able to resume the flights the fastest from our decision during the pandemic that we preserved all the headcounts, in line with the number of aircraft that we had. And once the situation started to come back, we were the one who was ready to capture this opportunity, and that's the market share. It followed in line with the record load factor of 96% on the right-hand side as well, and also the fare that right now stood at 1,600. This is a record. But I think apart from the very strong demand, the limited supply also played a pivotal role, and also the rising cost structure as well. That's why the market fare average has been going up. In terms of international market, this one we show overall map of our footprint, our flight footprint. The blue one will be those areas that will penetrate further in the second quarter until the end of the year. You see in China, right? We'll have Beijing and Shanghai to be reopened in third quarter. And also on the very right-hand side, we will have new cities in Japan, Narita in Tokyo, and also Osaka potentially in the fourth quarter. I will elaborate more on the next page. But the left-hand side will also have a flight to Kathmandu as well, reopened after a long pause from the pandemic. You see the stats on the right-hand side. Following strong domestic resumption, international we see a quite similar picture. So load factor was 90%, quite high, and also fare almost touched 3,000 baht per passenger. Yeah. So just for you to grab easier, we highlighted 4 main international markets that we are doing commercially. First one is China, right? China, as I mentioned earlier, it's been accelerating in terms of the trend. So first quarter, we ended flying around 95 flights a week. This is one way. Normally, when we talk about number of flights, we talk one way. So 95 in the first quarter. And ending this quarter, we plan to fly around 82. So you might see a drop slightly due to the lean seasonality. But overall, one supportive evidence for China market is the latest visa fee policy that the government issued. So nowadays, Thai people go to China, and also Chinese people come to Thailand. They don't need to ask for a visa. And post the imposition of both ways visa waive, we started to see a lot more Thai people traveling to China as well. So we have a stat here. People on board, from Thailand to China, previously it was less than 10%, mostly 5% of the flight were Thai people. But nowadays we are seeing 20% or slightly higher Thai people going to China as well. So it's a good trend and continue to see this number in April and May as well. India is also a key market that we see a lot of opportunity. By the end of this quarter, we'll be flying 47 flights a week. We've been opening several second-tier city routes to India as well. For example, to Lucknow, to Visakhapatnam, to Guwahati, and some more following the rest of the year. One pending, I would say, catalyst to be unlocked for India market is the quota restriction that has been imposed for several years. This is the bilateral kind of restriction between two governments, right? So currently for Thai airlines, including Thai AirAsia, we are actually flying to almost at the limit, at the limits that we are allowed to fly to India. CAT, which is the regulator, they have been in talk with the Indian government to unlock this quota limitation. So we are waiting, and actually there was a news press release already that Thailand is to be allowed 7,000 seats more per week to be flown to India, and really likely we'll get a big part of that because if you compare the flights nowadays that flow between Thailand and India, TG would be number one, followed by Thai AirAsia. So very likely we'll get some fair share of that new capacity addition to be seen. And then we have Fifth Freedom market, which is a new one that we've never done before. So we'll be flying from Don Mueang to cities in Taiwan, which are number one is Taipei, and the other one is Kaohsiung. So we'll stop there, and then we'll bring some more passengers on board and to send them from Taiwan to Japan. Now we'll start flying this June. The flights will be from Don Mueang, Taipei, and Okinawa, and the other one is Don Mueang, Kaohsiung, Narita. So there will be 2 flights upcoming in June, and potentially by the end of the year, if time and flight allows, we'll be able to fly from Don Mueang, Taipei, and Osaka as well. So this is new market, and plan is to fly in around 11 flights per week, so around 5% of our total capacity. One interesting point for this market is that average fare is quite high. We are about to see maybe 20 to 25% higher fare than the current average international fares. So basically, a lot of Taiwanese people, they travel to Japan and vice versa. So that's where we see potential, and would like to try the market as well. Lastly, Vietnam, very quickly. So Vietnam, back to the previous page. Vietnam, basically, we have the largest market share currently between Thailand and Vietnam. More than the local Vietnamese but Thai entity airline. We are seeing more Thai people visit Vietnam, probably from the latest development, the ease of travel, and the price points in Vietnam market as well. So we've been serving this, and fare has been strong load factor as well. So right now we'll be flying around 65 flights a week to Vietnam. So those are top 4 markets that we would like to highlight. Lastly, on fleet, right now we have 56 aircraft in our fleet. We'll be adding more throughout the rest of the year. Very likely there will be 2, in the second quarter. One new aircraft from Airbus, and the other one will be reallocated within the group, and then the rest 2 will come in third and fourth quarter. So the fleet overall will be more efficient with this new technology, fuel efficiency, longer range, more seats, which we can elaborate further if you have any questions. And very lastly, on the outlook, so I informed already that we might see some lean seasonality in the second quarter. So commercial team continues to do their job by stimulating demand. We work very closely with the Tourism Authority of Thailand to stimulate local demands and to incentivize people to go to the second tier cities where they have different cultures, different traditions, to try new experience. International market as well. So we continue to promote those highlighted markets that I've just mentioned, Vietnam, India, and several more in ASEAN. And on the right-hand side is our guidance. So this year overall, we target to grow 20 to 23% in terms of revenue. First quarter, it was 52%, quite high. But of course, the gap will be narrower in second to fourth quarter. And in terms of passengers, 20 to 21 million passengers. First quarter, we ended at 5.5. Load factor to be at near 90, and first quarter was 93. And very importantly, in terms of the bottom line, we target to come back to generate profitable returns this year. And on a normalized basis, first quarter, we ended at around 1,600 Thai baht. I would like to elaborate a little bit on page 9, which is our profitability. So you would see there's depending on the quarter, right, and depending on how Thai baht weakens or strengthens versus US dollars in that particular quarter. So, but as my colleague mentioned, most of these FX gain or losses are unrealized due to the lease liabilities on our liability side on the balance sheet. Basically, as we have the aircraft lease contracts with the lessors, the accounting standard mandates us to book all the liability values onto the liability side. But normally cash flow basis will be based on a monthly lease that we pay them. So the rest is just mark to market and fluctuating along with the currency. Yeah. So if baht strengthens by 1 baht per US dollars, we would have an unrealized FX gain of around 1,000 million Thai baht, or 1 billion, 1 B Thai baht. On the other hand, if baht, weakens by 1 baht per US dollars, we would mark a loss of roughly around 1 billion Thai baht as well. So this is purely accounting, yeah, and we cannot do much about it. We explore, either it's going to be prudent to hedge or do something else, but this is all paper loss. Yeah.
This section has come to an end. So on behalf of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, I would like to thank you investors and corporate for joining the conference. We look forward to welcome you all again in the next quarter. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณนะคะ
Thank you, everyone. So if you have any follow-up questions, just contact Investor Relations. Its email address is taa_investorrelations@airasia.com. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Yeah. สวัสดีครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ